think about how cool it is. I mean, I've done this so many times where I go and I talk to somebody about a property, and then immediately I start asking, well, the other house that you have on so-and-so street that you bought in this year for that much. I mean, it really takes and allows you to be in control and to some degree disrupt the way that that seller is going to engage with you, because you have information that they otherwise would have never even thought you had.
Hey, welcome back everyone to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Brian Driscoll, and I'm here with MJ Jackson. What's going on, MJ?
Man, I am doing good today, especially now that I know you're a Steelers fan.
Oh yeah, you know it. So today's going to be interesting. MJ, give us a little background, because I know you do a lot with comps, InvestorComps specifically. Give us a little background on like how you got into this space and what all you do.
Yeah, it goes back a little bit. And first and foremost, thank you so much. It's a joy to have an opportunity to be a guest on Eat, Sleep, Invest. I got into real estate just basically buying my first home. I was at the closing table and I just finished an accounting degree, and I was looking at this 20-page legal document, and I was going through the images of the property I was buying and the pictures of the other home, and looking at the sheet, I was actually doing the ratios for the square footage adjustments in my head. I mean, I love numbers, and I'm a gadget guy. Just got the new iPhone 15, whatever the case may be, but been a gadget guy for a long time. And I knew that the images taken of the pictures for the homes were done with the digital camera, which had just come out at that time. And I didn't need a reason to buy a digital camera. I needed an excuse. Okay. And my other area of study was information systems. So I could see how all the data over these 20 legal pages was moved around using a MySQL or database software. So it hit all the buttons. I turned to my wife. I said, I don't know what this is, but I could do it. My realtor then said, it is the appraisal. That's what the banks use to justify the value of the home for the mortgage that you are acquiring. And so I jokingly say I took immediate action and waited 3 years to go to appraisal school, take a walk away from my corporate job, did a buyout, and went down the path of being a real estate appraiser. The beauty of it was being and looking at, I had such a passion for the analysis, looking at neighborhoods and market areas and all the elements of functional obsolescence that go on with different homes, in particular in the Atlanta area where you've got older homes that have been added onto and things of that nature, the different building permits that would take in place, all these elements that happen behind the scenes that really good appraisers typically don't get credit for or even acknowledged in the transaction process. But it translated well to the different loan officers that introduced me to investors, because now I was able to, in my own unique way, guide their decisions about what deals they shouldn't do. I mean, literally, I would go out and I would come back with enough information, sure, to do an appraisal, but I would tell the investor, I'm not sure if you want to do this deal because of the amount of money that you have estimated here that you think you're going to make a return on, but could be a little bit different just in terms of holding costs or times or competition in the market area. So that was the birth of InvestorComps, where so many different other local market area investors in the Atlanta area originally wanted to utilize and get and glean the same type of knowledge that I could do one-on-one for them, but do it in mass. And then we launched InvestorComps in 2006, and what originally started as being a domestic company wound up being an international one, where we serve clients in Europe, Canada, Israel, Africa, Australia, even Asia. And it's been more than I could have ever dreamed of, being a little guy from Neptune, New Jersey. But I'm grateful to be in a position to serve. So that's basically how it kind of through a divine intervention moment, I got started. And now just the breadth and depth in which we're able to serve, knowing that we want to give people that feeling of confidence and complete sense of control that they're going to make a profit on each and every new deal that they do.
Yeah, so that's interesting, because I know, like, if I get a property comes up that I want to buy, number one, I look at it, kind of look at the pictures. In my head, I figure out random numbers. It's like, okay, kitchen, 10K, this and that. Then I add it up, and I'm like, looks like a deal. So you're saying, with what you have, I could come up with the same property and actually come up with hardcore figures and make an educated decision on, hey, this is what we need to be offering. This is what the ARV is, and here's the spread.
Yeah, you literally are simultaneously looking at what you should pay for that asset or deploy if someone wants you to support their deal by being a funding partner. And then also looking at what is going to be the marketability of that asset. And here's the thing that's really so important. When you're looking at the data that we provide InvestorComps, we're having a conversation about it too. You're not just on your own. You can develop and exercise that muscle and become strong at it as well. But when you're first getting started, or it's in a market area you're not familiar with, and you're doing that virtual investing, we can have conversations about other individuals that are maybe in the Tampa, Florida market, or maybe in the Seattle, Washington market, or maybe just doing something in Stager, Illinois, in Will County, just outside Chicago. I mean, we can really get into the nitty gritty to know that you're making good decisions about whether you're going to take a deal on as an active investor or deploy capital as a private lender.
Cool. So how's it work? So say I'm working with you and I find a property. Like, how do I find out these stats?
Yeah. Well, it's simple. I mean, of course, InvestorComps is subscription-based. So you sign up, you have your own account, and you can go in and just put the property address in and pull down a report. And in there's going to be all the information about the subject property, the tax history. You're going to get the prior transactions. There'll be some lease pendants on there if any of those have been filed. And then you get 2 sets of data to work from. A standard just, here's some comparables that are close by. And then you get a more detailed report, which breaks down even the comparables. How much was it acquired for? What was the loan that was on that property? The principal balance, the lender, the interest rate that's on there. So you could really make a determination. Is this a market area where I've got a wealth of FHA buyers? These are first-time home buyers in this community and the type of lenders are doing, or is it a community that actually has more conventional loans? So you could even make analysis by reading the data and having conversations in the community just to know that the type of market area that you're engaging. So those are the bases of how you get in and have that power to really look at deals independently rather than someone sending you a deal and saying, yeah, it's really good. This is the ARV. This is how it's going to turn out. You can make solid decisions and basically trust but verify the information that's coming to you from another operator.
That makes a lot of sense too, because I think it can even give guys confidence too. Number one, before you go meet with the seller, you can have some sort of information in your head because you did your research. And then also, because I know a lot of guys are like just pulling numbers out of their butt on what they're going to offer. This gives you a formula. It's like, okay, let me come up with my formula. And based on the information, talking with the seller, the condition, here's what I can offer. What's
really cool, and I've had so much fun with this over the years. There'll be a deal that I get that comes from someone, and let's just say it's a private sale, for sale by owner, FSBO. And so with InvestorComps, you go look up, and so you can see not only the address, but then who owns the property. If it is an LLC, is it in a trust, is it in their personal name? Well, then you can immediately take that. What I teach is do an owner search and see what other assets they own. Think about how cool it is. I mean, I've done this so many times where I go and I talk to somebody about a property, and then immediately I start asking, well, but what, the other house that you have on so-and-so street that you bought in this year for that much. I mean, it really takes and allows you to be in control and to some degree disrupt the way that seller's going to engage with you because you have information that they otherwise would have never even thought you had. Even if you keep it simple, let's say they don't own any other properties, but you can see the mortgage history and when they did a refinance, whatever the case may be. Take that knowledge and gain control of just by asking questions. You don't have to state, I found this. Just say, well, would you tell me about and why you did the refinance back in 2013? And just let that go. It really gives you that control over the conversation as you begin your negotiations on that next deal you're trying to bring on the books.
Yeah, you're right. And yeah, all that kind of information, like even knowing someone has other properties, like me, I would approach that differently. If I knew someone owned 15 properties versus a single family, you have to handle them differently because they have different thought processes, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, they're obviously to some degree a more seasoned investor. And so you utilize your own tool belt of knowledge to engage with them for good success. Having the data really gives you, as I always say, that feeling of confidence and sense of control that you know if you're going to do that deal, that you're going to make a profit.
How much does your service charge? Like, where does it start at? 'Cause I know it can probably get expensive depending on the data and everything, but like, what's the entry level?
Yeah, so we do $99.97, and actually we provide an unlimited database. You could actually pull as many reports as you need on a month-to-month or ongoing basis when it comes to the data. But the real power is, of course, being in the VIP Plus community. That's where all the conversations and engagement takes place, as well as all of our teaching and training, stuff like that. The data has been extremely powerful and allowed people to make some really good decisions. I mean, I was just talking to a client that lives in Mount Pleasant or Sullivan Island, somewhere off the coast of is that South Carolina? But they're working on a deal in Augusta. So we were just chatting yesterday via text over the analysis of a deal he's having to take back for another operator because they're not performing, but he can see what happens if he brings in, does some rehab, what he'd be able to remarket that property for, even in today's interest rate environment, based on the number of buyers there are in the market there, because that's another data set that we can engage in for good success.
I know a lot of guys fail with virtual. Like I don't see many guys succeed in virtual wholesaling, but then you figure if you have, this can help at least virtual wholesaling because you're going to get more data and be able to make those decisions versus just offering too high of a price. Like I see all the time guys offer too high of a price in virtual, then it comes time to close and they got to back up or something just because the data was off.
Yep. It really does make it, you're able to just function differently. I mean, I go back to the idea, utilizing and I'll get serious for a moment. Having a background as a real estate appraiser and really being focused in a niche of the valuation component, because deals come in any number of different ways, but so many people miss out on extra profitability based on when they remarket and or wholesale property, but also they miss out on what could potentially be the deal they just don't even need to vet or even go after the buyer. I mean, there's some, if you see where you can actually get in and get the property for really low, but is that really worth your time, effort, and energy? And so you're really able to utilize the skill sets and the value, the niche that valuation is to do deals and doing so well. I mean, I can't tell you how many different or thousands of people that we've been able to serve. I mean, I've got a person, Lori Hamilton, that lived up in Anchorage, Alaska. She had property even further north in Skeleton, Alaska. She had some stuff in Oregon. She had some stuff in Wyoming, and she had some other stuff in Arkansas. And all she wanted to do literally was get control over her portfolio and then be able to transition out of Alaska, move to Seattle so she and her husband could live right on the water and sail their boat. And it was looking at the data of the other assets she had and to some degree holding her hand because she was always looking at new deals to buy. And I was like, Lori, let's focus on what you have. Let's get you stabilized because that's what you said you wanted to do. And having that voice to work with her, guide her to a point where she was able to achieve her goal. They stabilized those assets, sold some other ones, released some other things, and then got to Washington State where they could just enjoy being on their sailboat whenever they wanted to. That's the power of having really good data from a different perspective, not just, free stuff that's out there, but being able to really dig into the numbers for good success. And I enjoy doing it. I mean, I wake up every single day excited about engaging and working on deals. I mean, in addition to doing Ironmans and having a family and, all those other things that are really life-giving experiences, but I found my passion, and it's just a way to care and share and help other people achieve their goals and dreams and just have good success with real estate as a foundation and cornerstone of it.
I agree. And we should talk about Ironmans. That's probably a whole nother episode there.
Yep.
Because I know that takes some oomph to get through.
It does. But I will tell you, it's been real estate that has allowed the bandwidth, the amount of passive income. We do deals in my company, America Discount Home Deals. We have assets in 9 different states, including the territory of Puerto Rico. And the freedom to be, I was up this morning. I was on the bike for an hour and a half. Literally when I'm training for an Ironman, it's going to be somewhere between 12 to 15 hours a week. And it has been real estate, the fruits that it has produced that allows the bandwidth, the time, and the freedom to choose to do something. For me, it's triathlon. I have really good friends that love golf and they will travel to different destinations. I have friends and associates that love surfing and that's what they do. I have friends and associates that all they do is go to they love organs. It's crazy. They'll go to different countries. They were just in Prague or something like that, looking at this historic organ, but they've been able to do it as a result of the income and stability and wealth generation that real estate has provided. Each and every one, that the common denominator has been the real estate and doing it really, really well.
Yeah, and it's all on how you buy, right? So that's where you come in. It's like you got to buy right.
Yes. I mean, look, I'm helping another person right now. They're actually a hard money lender, and they've got a deal where the market shifted on the operator, and now they're having to take the property back. And what we're actually doing is looking at, based on what they've already lent on the property, what do we do with that? Do we do it into a pod split where we actually set up so you can actually enhance the revenue on the property, hold it for a little while, and allow market value to come back? Or do we actually put some capital in it, transition it to a fix and flip? But, what are we going to have to do to make sure that the asset is prepared to compete with the other properties in the market? Because it's an older 1920 build. It needs some different things done to it just to provide a little more background. So that's the part where we talk about whether it's on the buy or even have to shift and adjust in an existing asset. What's going to be the best position to minimize the amount of additional capital to make sure you're able to recover not only it, but what's in the deal, and then maybe make some margin of profit. And that's after concessions and after closing costs, stuff like that. So there's any number of different ways that this background and the tools available within InvestorComps, that powerful data that helps you on the buy, or even if you're trying to counterbalance a situation that's already started out.
So let me think about this. So if I'm looking at a property, so I think your software does stuff around this too. Say I'm looking at a property. First, how do we attribute for repairs, things like that, bad foundations, dated kitchens, all that kind of stuff? But then also, I think you have data on like school districts. Like, what are the school district ratings, things like that, and foreclosures too. So like, talk a little bit about that, because it's kind of like the holistic picture of, okay, we got to put $30K into the rehab, but also this school district might be going downhill, which I don't know. I don't know what it means.
Yeah, there's a number of examples. The first thing that comes to mind, we're looking at the asset itself. There was a property in a developed subdivision that was built like in the early 2000s. And this particular house was in the corner of a cul-de-sac, really laid out nice. Actually, it was probably a little bit overbuilt, because I've done so many appraisals. As I was looking at the images from the front of the house and where it sat in the cul-de-sac, and knowing that it was in the metro Atlanta of Georgia, I looked behind the house, in particular on the Google Maps, right inside the InvestorComps report. And what you could see, based on knowledge and time, stuff like that, and having done nearly 10,000 appraisals, was the detention pond was right around the property. Well, a detention pond, by description, is going to have to be at a lower elevation than the property. So even though you're looking right down the map and you can see the cul-de-sac like that, what I could see and help the investor was that the property, one, by the developer, was built out a little bit more, because literally there was no backyard, okay? There wasn't even land to do a backyard. They were trying to make the house so attractive and then offer it at some of the same prices when we looked at the data as the ones around it, just to ensure that that house got sold. So now you take that knowledge that otherwise wouldn't be available and you apply it to how you're going to structure your acquisition, and then look at, okay, now what are we going to do to actually make this house more marketable? The first thing I'm saying is, let's go and engage with a landscaper in the market area, and as much as we possibly can, at least create some retaining wall and get just a level yard out there. So now we can, families that come to this house that have children would also be in our buyer's pool as compared to remove from our buyer's pool. Those are the nuances. Those are the things I get excited and pumped about, but am able to care and share within the VIP Plus community, so we all can have good success as compared to just taking that deal and just not knowing what to do with it. I hope that provides again, I get geeked about these dynamics. I really, really do. Because to me, it's just play to be able to look at a deal, find a way how you can get it done, as compared, or if you have to step away. But when you can get one, get the right price, and then make the necessary adjustments, and know that's going to have to go into your cost basis to maximize your overall return on that asset when you try to release it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the more you know, the more you got. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Different topic. What's your top book you recommend to people?
Right now, one of the books I just picked up and recommended to another friend is John Mark Kramer's The Relentless Pursuit of Unhurry. Really phenomenal book. It certainly has a guidance and a faith-based element to it, but it lets us look at how we're actually leading our day-to-day lives. And for some of us, there's such a grind, such a move to accomplish and set goals and get things done that to some degree, as we think about what else are we missing out on that actually could add more to our lives and be more life-giving to those that we engage in. So that's the one that I, right now that I'm actually just finished, and I'm on to another one. I have a really good friend, Fuquan Bilal, and he has this book, 10 Steps to Creating a Empowering Legacy. Fuquan Bilal, really good
Fuquan.
one.
He's a good guy.
Good guy. Yep. So that's a good one. So, but the John Mark Kramer book, The Relentless Pursuit of Unhurry, absolutely phenomenal read. I highly recommend it.
Good stuff, man. Hey, what's the best way if people want to reach out and learn more about what you do? What's the best way to connect?
TheMarkJackson.com, TheMarkJackson.com. That's a great way to engage, see what we do, and certainly make contact so we can engage, maybe set up some time to chat.
Cool, man. Hey, well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you.
Oh, it's a joy. I can't thank you enough. I really like the name of the show, Eat, Sleep, Real Estate. Absolutely phenomenal. And again, thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, man. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. Until next time, get out there, crush it, close some deals. We'll see you guys next time.